Last year, I did not amend my gardens and I paid the price. I thought I would be okay, but my harvest was not as big, my plants were not as healthy, and I'm not going to make the same mistake this year. So I figure it's a great opportunity to show you my easy and effective method of amending the soil in my gardens today. I amend for multiple reasons. First and foremost, it really loosens up the soil and helps those plant roots grow out more freely. Also, it helps with water retention and it puts important nutrients into the soil that break down over time and the plants absorb them and they really like it. After my summer vegetable growing season, I really let this side of the garden bed go. I let weeds grow freely and it got really hard and baked in that late fall sun because we get some really hot temperatures. I'm in zone 9B, so it's not very rare to have long stretches of temperatures over 100 degrees. So this soil was rock hard until I broke it up yesterday. I did this over 2 days. I broke up the soil with a shovel the first day because this can be a little bit of a hard project if you've got as many beds as I do. I got some worms in here, that's a good sign. I'm using two things to amend my soil. This chicken manure and this garden soil from Home Depot that is actually much more effective as an amendment in my experience. And I'm gonna show you why. When I was a new gardener, I made a mistake. I bought a bunch of this garden soil from Home Depot. It said organic, all natural, flowers and vegetables. It had the cheapest per cubic foot price, so I thought it was going to work great. Well, it didn't. My plants did not produce very well. Some of them died, succulents and vegetables. I couldn't figure out why. I thought I was overwatering, was I underwatering? But after doing some research, I found out that this soil is not the best by itself. And I don't know how they can even call it soil. So I got my little cutter here. I like to do a T like that, go down, a little like that. Okay, I open this up. What do I see? Mostly small sticks and pieces of wood. Is it organic? Yes. Is it beneficial to soil? Yes. But if you plant directly into this, it's very porous and it's not going to work very well. But if you mix this in with regular soil, it's an awesome amendment. These are going to break down and provide valuable nutrients to your garden soil. I'm going to empty this bag out and spread it across the garden bed. Less is more because I want to make sure I get the right ratio. I'm using a rake just to spread this evenly. It's time to just hoe it in here. Oh yeah. Oh boy. There's a lot here. Mixing and working the soil is one of my favorite gardening tasks. It's gratifying knowing the work I put in amending the garden soil will help my vegetable plants be healthier and happier. You'll notice I have a lot of true dirt clods in here, and again, that just shows that the soil was very compacted. It's wet now because it rained today, but I know that that's too compacted, and that's exactly why I'm amending my soil. Another tip for when you're amending your soil is when you are tearing out your crop, it's done for the season, I will leave the roots in the soil because eventually these are going to break down and they're going to provide nutrients for the plants. An important thing to know about chicken manure is it's pretty hot, as some would say. And what that means is it is very nutrient rich. If you have too much chicken manure in your soil, and especially if you plant into it too soon, you might burn your plants with just too many nutrients. But this is especially true if you're using fresh chicken manure, like from the coop. This stuff I've found can be a little more forgiving, and I've used both. I can sometimes get away with planting into a garden bed that I've amended with this in a little after a week, and things have gone fine. I'm going to mix this into my soil and give it a couple weeks before I put any plants into this garden bed. You might be wondering why I don't use steer manure, and it's because I did that one year and I had a lot of weeds pop up in my garden, and that never happened before. And I talked to my friend that's a dairy farmer, and you know, he made the argument that cows eat a lot of grasses and then a lot of weeds. And if this manure isn't composted right, or it doesn't reach a certain temperature, then the weeds will still grow out of the cow manure or steer manure. So that's why I like to use chicken manure. Doesn't smell too good, but I still enjoy the process. On the back of the bag, there's a pretty good rule of thumb when you're top dressing. I am mixing it into the soil, not exactly doing that, but if you're doing top dressing, follow these directions. Don't mess around. Again, you don't want to burn your plants. And usually I like to use 2 bags because it's this bed and it kind of L's around there. I'm just spreading this out so that when I start hoeing again, it'll mix in evenly. Break this soil up, loosen it up. Loose soil, happy plants. More nutrients, happy plants. I worked the chicken manure into the soil until I was satisfied with the mix ratio. Overall, I'm a lot happier with the consistency of this soil. It is starting to feel very similar to what it is most years, except for last year. As I mentioned, I did not amend, and it did not go well. On another day, I'm gonna go through, break up all these clumps, turn the soil over again, and just see if I wanna add some more organic material. Although, like I said, this is the consistency that I'm looking for the most part. I'm not sure the deeper I go, you know, if I want to add a little bit more. If I decide to amend this soil some more, it'll be after I've finished my hoop house style greenhouse. I designed and built it so that I could remove the plastic cover easily. That way I could still work freely in the garden and be able to switch over to a shade cloth when the summer heat shows up. I'll have a video on building my hoop house and many more plant projects coming soon in what is going to be my biggest gardening year yet.